Hello once again, Monster Hobbies Model Car Garage Mechanics, and welcome back to another great unboxing video. Today I've got a small one for you. This is a 1/72nd scale Ford truck. Now this is a 134-inch panel van from 1939. And as you can see, it looks really great. I wish I would do this in 1/25th scale, but this model is from Ace, which is a Ukrainian company. So without further ado, let's go down to the box and see what's in the bench. So now we go all the way back to 1939 to check out this amazing little tiny Ace 134-inch panel van, model 1939. So this is a Ford, as we can see, 1/72nd scale, and this is part of a digital design series. So here right on the box we've got this really wonderful looking big black intimidating police patrol wagon. Look at these little windows in the back for the criminals to take a look at. Now this is heavy duty, so you've got the dual rear axle here and those gigantic artillery style wheels. Now you could convert a 1/25th scale car into something like this if you really wanted to, but I'll leave that up to you. So there it is in 1/72nd scale. Now if we take a look on this side of the box, we can see some of the other panel vans that are available in the series. We have this nice, more modern 60s looking one. And then we've got these other two. These look like Opel Blitz type of trucks. Again, maybe Fords, but overall really cool looking. So look out for those in the set. On this side of the box, we have a history of the truck. So I'll just lean in and take a look here. It says, the 1-ton panel van, Ford's truck and commercial vehicle lines offered a vast selection of capabilities, including hydraulic brakes, 8 rear axle ratios, 2 clutches, 5 transmissions, various wheel and tire sizes, even dual rear wheels, and more power than ever before. 34 body and chassis types were available in the truck line, 8 in commercial car line, plus a choice of 3 engines. 1938 panel deliveries were produced as half-ton deluxe 112-inch 60 horsepower, 3/4 ton 122-inch 60 horsepower and 85 horsepower, and 134-inch 1-ton trucks 85 horsepower or 95 horsepower from 1939. So now we'll lift off the lid on this little model. And 1/72nd scale is actually the military scale, the smallest military scale. Well, maybe not the smallest, but one that's really small. So here we have our instructions right off the get-go. And then we have all our components, and these are in a special little Ziploc bag. So we'll take a look at that in a minute. And there you can also see the decal sheet. So let's check out those instructions. Here we have the first page of our 134-inch panel van, and as you can see, it's a full-out guide of the parts trees. So we have the one with the frame, and then we've got all these with the tires, and then here's the other one with the body panels, a small one which is photo etch parts, and then we've got our hood and the front fenders. And there are some cross-offs here as to which parts we won't be using in the kit. But overall, there is quite a lot. And then here we've got our wheels going together. So I'll just zoom in on those wheels and we can take a better look. Here we have our wheels. So it looks like the wheel and tire are connected as one piece. However, it does seem like we have our brake drums in here as well. Or maybe it's the splines of the wheels. Looks to be the case in this one. But we have the entire wheel going to the brakes, and this requires we do this twice. And then we have the dual axle, so we're making 2 of those as well. And then here it almost looks like a hubcap or axle or something to that effect. We'll see as this goes and progresses a little further along. Either that or this is the spare tire. Now here we get into our instruction sheet. And this pretty much looks like one of the Johan style where everything is just exploded on here. So here we have our frame, and the rear axle is a separate piece, as are the leaf springs. And the leaf springs are heavy duty. There's actually a dual set in here. So you've got the outer leaf spring and then an overrider leaf spring down here. Now here we've got our front axle being glued into place. And these are all the paint callouts. So this is molded as one piece. You get the bottom of the engine, the exhaust pipe molded in there, the engine rear support, the cross brace up front, and one for the differential as well. And then what else do we have going on here? There's the front axle. Here's our two-piece rear axle. So it's potential that there's radius arms that are separate on this as well. And then here we've got our front radius arms as well as the tie rod going in place. Okay, this is the spring for the front axle. And the front axle actually glues behind the spring. It's not really too clear in the instructions, but overall, this is our chassis going together. Now as we slide the instructions up the page, you'll also notice that there's the front bumper here. So we've got the inside of our panel van, and here's a bit of the upholstery. Glues onto the inside of the door. Here you've got your flat pan, and you've got your seats being glued in place, the backs and the top. You also have the inner fenders. Okay, I thought these were paint callouts, but they're actually the body parts. Numbers for the body parts. Okay, this looks like a little trunk that goes in here. And overall, this looks really neat. There are a ton of parts on this kit, but hopefully you can get them together. Sliding the instructions down to the bottom, you can see the two outer pieces of the panel van being glued together. Back here are the rear doors. You've got the cowl and the firewall being glued into place. And there's also the glass going in. And here are the templates for the windows. So you can see how exploded the drawing is. It's sized up pretty big because here's my finger. You can see that that front windshield is pretty much the width of my pointer finger. So then here we also have the rear bumper being glued in place. We've got the steering wheel. There is a decal for the dashboard. And speaking of the dashboard, we have this little glove box as well. You've got your shift lever and the pedals molded into the floor, as well as this tube right here. So again, this could also be part of the shift for the transmission. But overall, again, lots of really tiny parts in here. Here's our van from underneath, and it's showing the little exhaust pipe being glued into place. You also have the police lights, I believe, up front, a license plate. These are all optional. And another little plate going in here. So overall, this is what it would look like underneath. Here we have a top view of this van going together. And this shows all the police lights and sirens being glued into place. And there are some optional ones as well. Now, remember, you can build this as a police wagon or an ambulance. So many of those will pertain to that. We have windshield wipers, and it's saying to bend these. So these are possibly the photo etch parts, and they would glue in up above here. There's our hood and the front grille, two-piece headlights, and overriders, which are optional, as well as the parking lamps on the fenders. And then we've got our trunk right here, which is another optional piece. Here's our dual back wheels being glued into place as well. So again, quite the machine. And at the bottom, we have this police van version. So here we've got the little windows that glue into place. We also have our fuel filler spout gluing right behind the door. There is a little bit of trim going on the side. And we've got our running boards here as well. And the rear license plate and the tail lamp. So again, you can see how much detail is actually put in this kit. And keep in mind that the thing is probably no longer than about that. So we're talking tiny business. On the back, we have 3 actual versions of this truck that you can build. So to start off with, we have this panel van, which is a first aid van. So it says 134-inch panel van, model 1939. Lynchburg Life-Saving Crew, the 3rd oldest volunteer rescue squad in the U.S., specializing in EMS rescue. The crew has been serving since 1934. Ambulance van. Virginia, 1941, overall white. And then it's got it in Ukrainian. But you can see we've got license plates going in there. We've got the two little first aid red crosses, the emergency car up top here and in the front. Now this is before they actually wrote them backwards so people could see it in the rearview mirror as it was coming forward. There's a little tiny bit of decal that goes on here. It's saying chrome all over the place. So you would paint those parts chrome, the front grille and the bumper and that. And we've got our license plate in here for the front. And paint your light up top red with chrome ring around it. There's a Ford decal going in there. Imagine how tiny that is. I think this might be true scale. We'll find out in a minute. Lynchburg Life-Saving First Aid Crew right in there. So again, really cool stuff. Now, what's this one here? It says 134-inch 1-ton panel van, model 1939, Police Patrol Paddy Wagon of San Francisco, California Police, 1941, overall black. So if you don't want to paint two-tone colors and that sort of thing, you can just paint this white. Now, this one does have the dual wheels in the back and the single up front. It's kind of overlaid on each other. But there you got a California license plate, Police Patrol on the back, number 7. Another license plate in the front, Police Patrol actually written on the glass. Ford decal, and then it's saying paint that red again, and Police Patrol going right there with a number 7. So this entire thing would be painted black. Our last illustration shows the 134-inch panel van, model 1939, Romanian Army Field Ambulance. Oh, I'll have to build this for that. I didn't even know that was happening. I can build it from the home country. 1943, overall black. A Field Army Ambulance in black. That's really interesting. So this one only has the 2 wheels in the back, or one set of wheels in the back, I guess you would say. So single wheel axle, and there's the first aid crosses going on the back, as well as this little decal for the window. Interesting, there's no license plates on this. And then here you can see the red crosses going on the door and up there. Single back wheel, it says. So here's the QR code. If you've got the reader, you can pause the video and just take a picture of it. Check out some other things. It says, check for historical photos of this AFV and other vehicles, up-to-date kit instructions, detailed descriptions of other ACE kits, new products, and more at the website www.acemodels.com UA, so Ukraine, or on their Facebook.com Ace Model Kits. So I do believe that the single wheel on the rear axle would actually be C, because here's the extension, which would fill up the space, the distance, between that back wheel and the rear axle. So now we're going to take a look at our first parts tree. Now you see all these pieces on here, it looks like a million things. Keep in mind that here's my hand for reference, so you can see just how tiny everything is in 1/72 scale. So that is quite a tiny little machine. So let's see what I can actually see with my reading glasses. Now remember, we're not going to use all the pieces on this because some were omitted. So here we've got our 2-piece rear axle. There's a drive shaft in there. This is a frame. Now it may not be the frame, but it is a frame. Now here we have all our wheels. You can see the front ones would have the discs inside them, or the drums. And the rear ones, I think, are more open, although I'm not sure. There's a backing for one of the wheels, and more wheel backings. Spare tire. You've got the fender wells, steering wheels right there. There's one of the tie rods. The springs. Is that really the rear leaf spring? Holy smokes. I can see this is going to be quite the challenge, get on your magnifying glass and your reading glasses. Okay, I'm going to bring this up to the camera so that we can see. Now, unfortunately, we're going more gray here, but you can see the nice detail in those wheels. Some of them are open. Really excellent stuff. I would really need to identify this. Take a look up close. Okay, oh, there's underneath, you can see the engine molded in place, and there's our inner floorboards with the pedals. And that's on the left-hand side. I wonder if there's a right-hand side version for this too. I do believe these are omitted. There's the trunk, part of the trunk anyway. So again, really excellent detail. I'm not seeing any mold marks, which is amazing. Especially in this scale, a mold mark would be totally awful. There you can see the rear axles and the springs. Again, really nice, small, super detail stuff from Ace. Here we have part tree B, and this is the body panels, as well as the floor, the roof, the front cowl, the rear doors, and the seats, both the backs and the front, as well as two different fenders. Now, I don't know if one of these are omitted, but at any rate, you get some extra rear fenders in there. And there's the fender inners. Fender inners. We have two sets of running boards as well, and the rear bumper, license plate holder, all kinds of stuff. There's another set of floorboards, and that looks like it's the left-hand side. There's another set of wheels there, but again, really super detailed. Turning it over, look at the panel underneath there. The inner roof is excellent. Look again, no mold marks. Like, why can't AMT and those guys and Revell Monogram get this right? No mold marks. This is 1/72nd scale. This is micro tiny. Now here's little holes on the inside. You would cut these out for the police windows on that big van. But again, really excellent stuff. Man, unbelievable. More inner fenders right there. But again, you really need your magnifying glass on to be able to see what's going on with the parts. Next up, we have parts tree C, and this has the top of the hood, the front radiator, a piece I'm not totally familiar with there, but this is the hood sides with the inner fenders molded in place. And here we have the outer fenders. So that's the front fenders, of course. And again, this detailing is great. There is a bit of flash on here, but look at the grille. It actually looks like a grille. It's got the vents up there. The detail in the wheel arches is neat, molded to the side of the hood. Front fenders look cool. Underneath, again, more detailing. No mold marks. This thing will go together really quite nicely. And we've got these little tiny bits for mounting, I believe, the headlights, maybe horns. But yeah, some of that great detail on those little front fenders. Now, I couldn't find a parts tree D or E, but here we have parts tree F. And what we have is another frame right here, as well as a few of the radius, maybe that's a radius arm part, and looks like a drive shaft right here. Now, I'm not 100% sure though, but everything's so tiny. Underneath, we've got the engine molded in place. So again, really nice detail on these parts, although they are quite tiny. But it should be fun if you really like building these tiny kits to put it together. Now, I decided to leave these two components in the little Ziploc bag because I know what would happen if I tried to take them out. So right here we have some photo etch, and it does look like it is starting to oxidize. This is copper photo etch, which is interesting. Normally it's like a stainless steel. But at any rate, these are the inner door panels. And then we've got the little window surrounds for the police windows, the little ones you cut in the side of the van, as well as a bunch of other little bits and pieces. Microscopic chevrons, it looks like. All kinds of neat stuff. So again, really well detailed. There you can see there is, I don't think it's going to work, but you can see there is some panel detail on those inner panels. Overall, really cool looking stuff. Turn our little bag over, you can see our decal sheet. Now here are the license plates, which are really cool because you can read them really well as some of the decals, which will hopefully get on this model if they don't end up getting lost in the water. Lynchburg Life-Saving First Aid Crew, and then you've got the first aid crosses for the Romanian version, as well as Police Patrol for the police van, and number 7. So again, really wonderful looking decal sheet. The color looks amazing on this. And again, for reference, there's my thumb, so you can imagine just how tiny some of these are. Well, I really hope you enjoyed that unboxing of our nice little 134-inch panel van from Ford, which is an Ace model kit out of the Ukraine. Now I know this one is really tiny, but it is packed, full of detail as you saw. So if you like this little truck and like this video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and visit us online at www.monster-hobbies.ca to see what great model kits that we have for you. So until next time, everybody, happy model building, and we'll see you in the next video.